Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of our weekly coaching webinar. Really glad everybody could join us today. So today we are going to be talking about webinars. We're actually going to be going through and doing a couple things today. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our success with JV webinars, talk to you about what's happening with that, and then we're also going to come in and I'm going to introduce you to two different PowerPoints that I will be in your back office shortly, and then I'm also going to go ahead and I put them in the chat for those that are here live. Okay, there's a benefit of being here live, and one of the benefits is that you get access to some resources that others don't get, and you get them faster as well. So I went ahead and put those into the chat. There's at least 3 links there, one to each PowerPoint and one to emails. The PowerPoints will be added to the back office in the presentation section and in the PowerPoint section. The emails, I'm not sure if they're in the back office in the email section or not, but if you are attending the event live, they will be in there for you. So we've got a couple different PowerPoint presentations that we've been testing with very good effect, and that we are now replacing with our other previous that we used to use. So JV webinars, let me talk to you a little bit about JV webinars and what we're doing and how we're doing it. First of all, we do a webinar about once a month to our audience. We send out emails to invite to the actual webinar, and then we also do the same thing for joint venture partners. So for joint venture partners, we produce a document like this, which I put a link in your chat to get. This is emails that basically promote the actual webinar. And then, and again, some of these are for our $250,000 webinars. So you might need to change some of these because we're just rolling out these new PowerPoints. You have to make some changes to these docs, but the content of it's pretty much the same. You just have to change the title in some of these because we haven't got that changed. Okay, it's part of getting the stuff right as it rolls out, is you have to do a little bit of work. But these are basically the emails that we send. Now we adjust these now with the new headlines, but these are the emails that we send promoting the webinar. And then we have 2 different webinars here that I'll go through with you. The first one is how to get business credit financing. The second one is just how to get funding. It doesn't sell anything. It's just talking about how to get business loans, lines of credit, and how to get loans and lines of credit. So we do 2 of these. We do one a month for our database. We also work a lot with joint venture partners. Joint venture partners are people that also have email databases themselves that we then use the emails that I showed you to promote the event. Then we do a live webinar for them, or if their list is a little bit smaller, we do a recorded webinar. Now, if you want to do joint venture webinars, you should. It's very, very profitable, but it's a lot of work. You need to know that. You've got to go and find the joint venture partners that are a good fit. We find them a few different ways. We go to places like GroupHi, where we actually have a product that we've purchased called GroupHi. And actually they just got purchased by another company, and they just got, I forget who it was that just bought them, but I just got an email. So we used GroupHi, and GroupHi is a way where you can come in here and you can find influencers that have following, and then you can contact them through GroupHi. So that's one way you can get joint venture partners. We have also working with and hired Up My Influence. Now, Up My Influence, they help to get us as contributors to Entrepreneur Magazine. We had a lot of success. We're still testing the waters with them when it comes to lining up joint venture partners for us. But I'm a huge believer in Up My Influence, what they do, and of Josh here. Him and I have become really good friends, and he is just fantastic at what they do. So we have hired them. If you want to know about how much that is, I think the service is $2,000 to $3,000 a month for them to find the influencers and make connections with the influencers that we want. Not cheap at all. Okay, and that's a service that we're just testing at this point. So we use GroupHi to find our own. We also use Up My Influence here to find them. And then we have a podcast as well. I do a podcast every week, and our podcast, I get a lot of joint venture partners as potential or as podcast guests. So a lot of my podcast guests that I'll speak to, if they have good sized email databases, then we're speaking with them, and we are then getting them in, and we are then working and doing promotions to their database as well. Okay, so again, Riley Meek, for example, he was one of those people that we were doing just that with. So again, what's nice here is that you're able to come in. and find joint venture partners a lot of different ways, whether you're using software like you see here with GroupHi, whether you're hiring a company like Up My Influence to help you find them, whether you're using it, your own connections, like for example, as we do through podcasting. That's how we find a lot of these joint venture partners that are basically people that have audiences like ours that are business to business. And the other differences with them is that they also will come in and we're looking for people that actually know how to market. We need to have people that know how to send emails, that actually have some kind of experience in that. If they do that, if they meet that criteria, they know how to send emails that we send, have a CRM, create them, et cetera, and send them to their database. Their database is a pretty good size, 20,000 or more. Then we'll partner with them as a joint venture. Now, we may promote their offer to our database. We may test an offer to their database first before we do. It's different for all the joint venture partners that you have. Once we basically line up these joint venture partners, we're working with them. We're giving them these emails to promote the actual event. Again, you got to make some changes based on which one of these new PowerPoints you're actually going to go through. And then we do the event. And when we do the event, we do one of two things. If it's a good enough audience size, we'll go live and we'll schedule a live event in GoToWebinar as well, or GoToMeeting is what we use, which is their webinar service is GoToWebinar. So we use GoToWebinar service here to set up the webinar. We go live to their database. How it actually works is that they send out the emails, and the emails will then give the customer a link to register for the webinar. The webinar is our registration link for GoToWebinar. We send these emails with a link to our registration link that's unique to that joint venture partner. So we come into GoWebinar here, we set up a webinar for them in GoToWebinar. And then what we do is we then give them the emails with the link to promote. They email the emails to their database. And then when they email the emails to their database, then those people register for the webinar and they go right into our GoToWebinar. And then we have a widget that puts all these people from GoToWebinar into our Infusionsoft. I think we use Fix Your Funnel for that. We use Fix Your Funnel as a lot of the connections between Infusionsoft for a lot of other things. So we use and let me see here if I'm going to open up the questions too. So we then use GoToWebinar. Okay, the other three do not work. Okay, Luis, so you got Luis, do me a favor. You said those links don't work. Tell me which one did work, and then I'll make sure you get the other two that are in there. But let me go ahead and copy this link right now, and I'm going to put that in chat. That should be one of the links that you need. Let's see if that works. That one I just sent, that should be the one. And then let me come here real quick too, and then I'm going to find the other link too. So give me a second here. Funding Blueprint. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and fix that for us right now. Okay, make public, copy hyperlink, copy link address. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and put these back in the chat. Hopefully this should work. If you still have issues, let me know, but this should work because I am copying them right from our server right now. So excuse the delay. I just want to make sure you guys have working links. How to get the lines, credit lines and loans, August 20th, make public. Okay, so I went ahead and put that in. If you have any issues downloading those, again, let me know. Might not be able to, but hopefully that's what you need. So again, then what we do after that is we come in, as I said, we go to basically GoToWebinar. We set up the actual email in the thing in GoToWebinar. We put the link in, send them the link and the emails. They set up these emails in their own CRM database. They blast it to their database. The people register for the event. The people come into our GoToWebinar. Our widget from Fix Your Funnel takes them from GoToWebinar and puts them in our Infusionsoft CRM. And then what we do is we trigger emails notifying them and reminding them that there is a webinar going to take place, notifying them 3 days before, 2 days before, the day of, as the webinar starts, that the webinar is going to take place. Now, another tip that we found that works really well is to send text reminders. So we get the phone number upon webinar registration. We get permission from them to send text reminders. And then what we do is that we then send text reminders to the actual participants. And that's helped us dramatically increase the amount of people that show up to the webinar. Now the webinar takes place and one of two things happen. Either one, we actually have a recorded webinar that we've already done. We already went through one of these PowerPoint presentations and we already recorded it. And when you go to webinar, of course, you should use GoToWebinar. You should record your actual webinar. And then what we do in that case is we then have the ability to use that for other joint venture partners. So if we have joint venture partners that don't have large databases, then what we do is we give them access to a recorded one. They can basically promote that however they want, whenever they want, and we don't have to be there for a live event. If somebody has a larger audience that they want us to actually present to, well, then we'll do a live one. Then we'll do the webinar in GoToWebinar. Actually, let me take a step back. If we're doing automated webinar, we're using webinar, I don't know what they call it. It used to be Webinar Jam, but I think it's EverWebinar. So we use EverWebinar as our automated webinar source. That's what we use for automated webinars. I think GoToWebinar has a product too, but they're rather expensive. So we use EverWebinar for our automated webinar product. If we go live, we go to GoToWebinar. And both of those, I think we use Fix Your Funnel to integrate into our CRM Infusionsoft. And that means that when people register for this automated webinar or the real one, they go right into our CRM. And then we send them notifications, and then we send them promotional emails after, letting them know, hey, thanks for attending. You know, you can get a discount if you buy now, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And again, if they don't have a small database, we go to automatic webinars, or what are called evergreen webinars. And if not, then what we do is we go right to our live webinar. Then the webinar takes place, and we're basically going through and doing the presentation. And I'll spend much of our hour together going through this presentation, showing you how it's set up, how it works. Then when we go through, we're basically educating them. We're pressing them to sell. Okay, this is the shortest pitch we've ever had. We're doing a demo in between. I'll show you how that works now. And then from that point, what we do is we follow up. The key to closing webinar leads is that every attendee to the webinar needs to be called by your sales team. Okay, they're not going to auto sign up. They may call to sign up, but my advice is to have your sales team call every single one of them. Okay, that's really what works best. So you really want to make sure that you come in and you have your sales team follow up with every single attendee of that webinar. We actually have tickets created in our CRM that we use, Zendesk. And in Zendesk, what will happen is every webinar lead that comes in, we'll get a ticket assigned to our sales team, and we'll follow up. If you don't have all that complicated tech stuff set up, no big deal. You can easily just download a list when the webinar is done, an Excel log from GoToWebinar. And then what you could do is give that list to your sales team to call. But your sales team should call at least 5 times post-webinar and email 5 times to follow up. We call that 5 by 5. All science shows that the minimum amount of contacts that you really should be using to make contact with a customer is 7 to 8. So what we will do is we will basically come in and we will do 5 emails and 5 phone call follow-ups. That's 10. And that way, and we do that over 5 business days. So if the webinar was Sunday, then we would call a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 5 business days, and send them emails each day as well. We call that our 5 by 5. And to try to get them on the phone, we get people on the phone, we answer questions, and we basically go to sell them, or we're going to sell them. That's how that actually works. But again, the key to selling at webinars is the follow-up. It's following up with the attendees after the fact. If you're doing that, then these could be fairly successful. These could also be completely not successful at all. We do more non-successful JV webinars than we do successful ones. The difference between it is you've got to find joint venture partners with really good databases, and they have to know how to send emails to those databases. If you get a bunch of people that come in that don't have experience or knowledge, then what happens in sending emails and they don't have a database they're maintaining, then you're just wasting your time. They're going to send those emails and nobody's going to register for the webinars, or they're not even going to know how to send the emails. And then that's even a further complication. So the key here for this to succeed is that you really need to make sure that you are coming in and that you are working with joint venture partners that know what they're doing. If you don't work with joint venture partners that know what they're doing, then you're going to have more failed attempts at webinars than you are success. Now, remember, everything I'm going to teach you today is something that you are able to do with your own database as well, and you really should do this for your own database as well. But I'm also going to show you exactly how this works if you're doing it for joint venture webinars as well. Okay, so you can come in and you can succeed there. Either way, you can succeed, whether you're doing it for your own database or whether or not you are doing it for whether or not you're doing it for your own database or somebody else's. Okay, but these can be very lucrative when you're doing these type of webinars. You know, it's how much you can make. It kind of depends. I think the most that we've ever done for a joint venture partner is like $120,000. I'm pretty sure is about what we actually did on the high end. And then a good one for us could be, you know, $50,000 to $100,000 in sales is what we could make from a joint venture webinar if we're doing it with somebody fairly good that knows what they're doing. If we're working with somebody that really doesn't know what they're doing, again, those webinars can completely fail. We may not actually come in and do anything for webinars where we're dealing with joint venture partners that just really are not that familiar with sending out emails, that have databases, those type of things. You got to be careful there. So this is one that we just did, for example, and we collected in cash. It's not sales because we still have a bunch of account receivables. We did about 27,000 collected in cash on that one webinar. Okay, so that's pretty strong, right? And then we did like 75,000 in sales, and a lot of it'll come in, you know, in future payments. But you can see that these could be very, very profitable if you do well. And because we tested this and it works well, we're now going to be keynote speakers at our event. And the great thing is it was $15,000 to be a keynote speaker at their event. That's a lot of money for any of us. Okay, but when we can do a webinar and make 30,000 nearly, then guess what? We just paid for ourselves to go to that event. It cost us nothing. We did a webinar to her database. We made nearly 30,000 in sales. She made all kinds of commissions. We then got the money to pay to be a keynote speaker at their event. Her event has about 1,000 people at the event. We expect to do 200,000 in sales at her event. And guess what? It basically cost us nothing because her joint venture webinar paid for us to go to the event. But again, she's an outlier. Okay, the majority of JVs we're working with right now, we don't have that kind of success. We're trying to weed through the bad ones to find the good ones. I don't want you to have the expectation that they're all going to end up this way. They don't. Okay, you're going to find maybe 1 out of 10 or 20 may end up this way. But then the more of these you get, the more they compound. So we've been doing this the last couple of years, and now what's happening is all the people that we've done that do successful webinars, they're all coming back. So this month or next month in September, we have 2 joint venture webinars that are going on that we've already done in the past. We did like 8 months or a year ago, and both those joint venture partners made a lot of money on the event. So they asked us to come back and do another one. So it's very nice because you have to weed through the bad ones. You have to go through Group High and these kind of places to find the influencers that you think you make contact with them, and then tell them what's going on. Hey, look, I help businesses get money. And, you know, it seems like you work with a lot of business owners. Would you be interested in a joint venture relationship where, you know, I can basically teach your audience how to get business credit, how to get financing. And then in the end, we'll do a little sales presentation, give them an opportunity to buy. And then if they buy, you get X amount of dollars, and you have to figure out what that commission split is. We're now paying joint venture partners $500 for every sale that we make. So to give you an idea of basically how much we're actually spending in a commission for that joint venture partner. Okay, and then that's how it works. You go through the bad ones, and then you get to the good ones, and then you line up the good ones for 6 months down the road. And once you go through enough bad and weed them out, good, you start lining up the good ones, and then you basically have a situation like we do where we're doing about 2 joint venture webinars a month that are successful. We know they're going to be because they were successful in the past with these same partners. And then we do, you know, 3, 4 that we test with new partners, and then 3 of the 4 fail, and one of them's good, and then that one comes back 6 months later, and the 3 we never work with again on the joint venture webinar part. So it's a trial and error like anything else you're going to do. But what's nice about joint venture webinars, you don't need to go to events. You don't need to have this absurd overhead cost to do it. You just need a salesperson that's willing to reach out, formulate these joint venture relationships, then help the joint venture get the emails and everything they need to get it sent out, you know, set up the webinar, those kind of things, which a virtual assistant can help you with a lot of those things. Once you get down to it, you have a pretty good process you can repeat, and then it takes you about less than an hour to set up a joint venture webinar every time. So the time commitment isn't big once you can once you can get in touch with the joint venture partners. Finding the joint venture partners on places like Group High that you want, making contact with them, building a relationship with them. Those are the things that take time in this process. And then also doing webinars and testing a lot to figure out who can succeed with webinars and not, That's where your time is spent with this. So let's take a look at the new presentations that we're using. So we've got 2 of them. I put them in your back office. Also put links in the chat. Luis, I think I pronounced that correct, Luis just confirmed that the links are working, so that you have links to the emails, which I don't think people that are watching the recording will get access to, and you're getting access to the actual live webinars, which if you don't know where they are, they're in the presentation section of the partner resources area of your back office. They're also in the PowerPoint section. So I'm gonna take a drink of water and then we'll go through this PowerPoint. Okay, so we start here with the funding blueprint to get business credit with no personal guarantee or credit check and get loans and credit lines when banks say no way. This webinar, we're basically talking about business credit and financing. In the one that you have, I tell you to put your own information here. Steve now handles our business development, and Steve does our webinars now. So, it's important for you to know that. I've now stepped out of that role. So what happened now is I've stepped out of doing webinars and I brought Steve in, and now Steve does all the webinar presentations for me, which is even our own. I don't do those anymore. Okay, so that's the nice thing is if you own a business, you're able to segue out of you doing the presentation and having somebody else do it. Now, when we do these, my information is removed and it's just Steve. And what I did was take my book, republish it, and then had Steve basically got published, and then he's a published author now as well. So we started building his credibility on LinkedIn and the social media following, and we got a book published for him, and we started to put him on the podcast. And when we got big enough for a business development position, then what happened was we basically had him push me out, and he now does all of our sales pitches, those type of things. So you're going to put your information here. What we'll cover today's slide. What we'll cover today's slide is basically designed to try to hopefully have something that somebody really wants to know to get them to hang out to the end of the webinar. That's the whole point. During the webinar, we're pitching at the end. So we want them to stay to the end. So there's a couple things that we're going to do to make sure they stay to the end. One is this, what we'll cover today. We go to it early on, third slide, really the first content slide, just so they could basically get a lot of good information. I'm not going to read everything on every one of these slides. We'll be here a while, but you can see what we're doing. We're teasing them, how to beat the banks and become fundable, how to get high limit revolving corporate cards, how to get this credit with no credit check or guarantee, how to get loans when banks say no. So this is designed to entice them to stay to the end. We added this, and this is something we've never had before, and these are really some of our fundamental beliefs here at Credit Suite. And so we add this too, and the reason we add a we believe slide is because our goal is that people that are watching this webinar are shaking their heads going, yeah, man, me too. Like, we believe in the same things. And so we say things like all entrepreneurs should be able to attain capital. You should know exactly how to get approved before applying. You should know what lenders know about you. You should be able to access all funding in one place. So we say these things because there's really none of these points that anybody watching is going to disagree with. So it really helps bring us to their level because we say, here's the things we believe in. Here's the things we're passionate about. And then they're passionate about those things too. They're like, yeah, I think all business owners should be able to get capital too. And yeah, I think I should know what lenders know about me. And yeah, I think I should be able to get funding in all one place. So when we're done with this slide, they really are able to relate to us and say, look, I want to work with this company because this company believes in the same things I believe in. Okay, then we have the webinars for you. Looking to get money to grow your business, you want to fund you want your business to fund itself, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then we have the webinar is not for you, a disqualifier. You're looking to get rich quick. You want to use shortcuts like Shelf Corp, CPNs, buying trade lines. This is a crap people always ask me about in the webinar. So we just said, it's not even for you if you believe in this stuff. You expect money to fall from the sky with no work, et cetera. So kind of a disqualifier slide. Then we have a credibility slide. And in yours, it says here to add credibility points, any credibility points you can. Okay, so we've got a bunch of different credibility points here from our BBB rating to reviews to all testimonials to all those type of things. So any credentials you have to give yourself credibility. Then we have bonuses. Now, you've got a bonus slide too that doesn't have all these because we give away some business credit monitoring for months as well at a loss to us. And on top of some other bonuses I built in, but these are bonuses for staying to the end of the webinar. Remember, I told you there's a couple things we're going to do to get them to stay to the end. The first happened on slide 3, what we'll cover today. The second happens in slide 8, bonuses you get just because you stay to the end. So what we're doing is basically giving them access to this. Now, I will tell you this, even if you say, well, I don't have access to these bonuses, let me tell you the best bonus we've ever tested. and it's something you do have access to. It's the PowerPoint slide deck. So the best bonus we've ever tested is to give them the actual PowerPoint slide deck. So if you want to add a bonus here, then give them this slide presentation if they stay to the end of the webinar as well. So they get a playback or the video of the webinar. And I always promise them this, because then it gives us the ability to send emails after the webinar. Hey, I promised we'd send you the playback. Here it is. Hey, by the way, we talked about a special during the webinar. You know, if you want to get on board, here's how to buy. Okay, so, but again, the slide deck is one of the best bonuses we've tested that people want to have the most. Okay, so now we talk about the problem, and that's what the slide is. We're talking about the reality of the problem they face. Look, you know, per the Bureau of Labor Statistics, blah, 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 most businesses fail because they can't get money. Okay, most agree that the getting loans is a problem. Okay, and most of businesses worry weekly about having access to money. Okay, so we start talking about the problem. Okay, and then we talk about our solution, and it's really these three things that we're going to talk about the webinar. We need to make sure you meet credit lender guidelines before you apply. We need to get business credit. We need to get you access to money. So this is what it's called a pain slide. So we're bringing out the pain here in slide 9, getting money for your business is hard. We're talking about the problem. Then in slide 10, we talk about the overview of the solution we're going to go over with them today. Now, I can't say this enough. You know, you could easily add more slides in here related to the problem, and it would probably be even better. We tried to keep this short, but you could come in and say, look, you know, here's all these statistics, or here's all these real problems. When you can't get access to money to grow your business, you don't grow quickly. And, you know, you're trying to, you know, pay yourself, decide between paying yourself or paying for money to market, or, you know, you really want to bring out as much pain as you can in the pain slide. And then we start talking again about our overview of our solution. Now, the next slides, we're breaking down these three things. We talk about fundability, business credit, and getting financing. Now we're going to dive into these three things. So first thing we're going to do is talk about the first thing we said, improve your fundability. Okay, we're talking about how there's automated approvals. We're also talking about how fundable your business is determines if you're going to get those kind of approvals. And then we talk about some things here that are related to fundability. What is fundability? Well, you got to make sure your business set up where it's fundable. Your fundability factors include the type of entity you have, the phone number, the congruency of your records, the type of references you have. Now, what you want to notice here is that in webinar, what you really want to do when you're selling is you want to teach them the what to do, but not how to do it. So that's the key here. What we're doing is we're teaching them what to do. We're not teaching them how to do it. And in past webinar PowerPoints we've given you, we really get into the specifics of how to do it. In this one, we've spent a lot less time talking about the how to do it and a lot more time talking about the what part of it. So for example, fundability factors. If you want to improve your fundability, you need to address your entity, your phone number, your fax. But you notice we're not telling them what to do with their entity, what to do with their phone, what to do with their fax, what to do with these things. We're just telling them the how or the what you need to do, not how you need to do it. Now, there's a couple different ways you could do this. I believe in doing a Finance Suite demo in between here. And what we do is we do it at the end of each section. So I'll give you an example here as we move on. I'll show you what I mean by that. So again, here's what to do, not necessarily how to do it. I reference a lot that I will show them later more about this. So let me give you an example. When I come here and I say, hey, you know, the type of phone number you use is important, right? And then I'll say, look, if we have time, I'm going to show you later the type of phone number you really should be using. Okay. And then I'll go back through and I'll talk about address. I'm going to say, look, if we have time later, I'm going to actually show you the type of addresses you should be using. What I'm doing here is I'm doing what's called in psychology creating open loops. So our brain doesn't do well with things being unresolved. And so as a result, and this is why TV shows, for example, always have previews of next week's episode, because you want to see them. So what I'm doing is I'm saying, oh, I'm going to talk to you more about the type of phone numbers you're going to use later. I opened a loop, and now they're saying, well, I want to know that. I need to tune in to get that answer. Now, you need to keep track of the open loops you're creating, because you don't want to open loops and not close them. But you want to keep track of what you're going to tell them later. Now, what I would do is later when I do a demo presentation, I will then come in and I will then show them in the Finance Suite this. I'll say, hey, remember earlier I told you how I was going to show you the type of phone number? Well, in this section in the finance suite, you can see that we map all that out for you. And you can see here that you got to have your number listed with 411. That's important. And you can see here we do it for you as a client. So it gives me an opportunity when I dump into the presentation of the demo that I can come back and close these loops. So any loops I open here, I'm closing the loops in the demo. And I'm usually opening a loop when I talk about phone. And I talk about if your phone number is listed in certain directories, this is an open loop for me. And then I also open a loop here and say I'll tell them that later when I talk about address. Okay, and then I also talk about the numbers, how you have your EIN BIN number, that's the business identification number with Experian. I'm also going to say, hey, I'm going to show you later how to easily get these numbers. So you see, I'm not coming in and saying here's the how to do it. Hey, I'm on this bullet. I'm going to teach you on this bullet how to get your EIN, how to get your DUNS, and how to get your BIN. Instead, I'm saying you need to have all these identification numbers set up. Your EIN number that your business credit's linked to, your DUNS number with Dun & Bradstreet, your BIN number with Experian. If we have time later, I'm going to show you an easy way to have all of this done for you. I'm going to show you an easy way to get these numbers. Okay, then ultimately what I'm going to do is when I get to it, is I'm going to log into the finance suite. I'm going to log into the business credit builder. When I get to that section about getting their business credit reports set up, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and go, hey, remember earlier when I talked to you about how I was going to show you how to get your BIN number and all that stuff set up? Well, here's how you're actually going to do that. And so then when I get to that section, so for example, when I come into the finance suite and I get to this point, and I say, okay, hey, remember earlier when I told you I was going to show you how to get your information set up with the reporting agencies, how to get your BIN number, how to get your DUNS number? Well, that happens right here in step 4. So in step 4, what we're going to do is we're going to help you access business credit monitoring, okay, at a big discount where you don't have to pay what the reporting agencies pay, okay, or what they're going to charge you. Then we're going to help you right here in 4.2 to get your DUNS number. So you're able to easily come in and you're able to come right here and click that you want to get your DUNS number. Okay, you can monitor, you can log into D&B, so you have all those options. You could do that right here. So again, what I'm doing is I'm saying I'm going to tell you this later. Then when I get to the later part of doing the actual demo, that's when I show them those. Then that's when I close those loops and show them that information. Okay, and then we say even the slightest change to one fundability standard can turn a denial into an approval. Okay, and then we also talk about the second part of fundability. Hey, you know, lenders have all this information about you that you don't know about. You need to have access to this information. And then, of course, when we get in the finance suite, we show them how they now have access to Experian and D&B and Equifax. We show them how they can come in and get access to all of that information as well through the Business Credit Builder. So again, the purpose here is to open these loops so we can then close those loops as we move on, as we progress, as we get to the demo. Okay, and then we say, okay, you must know what's being reported about you to have the best chance of getting approved. Okay, and then we go to a testimonial to that point. Okay, so we came in, we taught fundability, not the how to do it, but the what. We opened a bunch of loops that lead us into a presentation, and then we come in and we do a testimonial proving that when you fix fundability, it works. This is the point where we mix things up. We used to, in the past, wait to do all the education stuff, then we did the demo. Now we tend to do the demo in between. So at this point in the webinar, I say, look, we are ahead of schedule right now. Everything looks like we're on track. Everybody, are you okay if I actually physically show you how this works? Like, I don't want to just show you PowerPoint slides in theory of how this works. Type yes if you want to see how our clients actually do this, how the samples actually got the results they did. Just type in yes, and then I'll talk on for a few minutes, and then the yeses will roll, and I'll say, okay, I get a lot of yeses. Well, then I'm going to break free from this PowerPoint and let me show you something. Okay, this is a system we call the Business Finance Suite, and here's how it works. Then what I do is I show them the fundability stuff. I show them all of step 1. I say, remember how we talked to you about how you were going to get your phone number set up and your EIN, and remember I told you you're going to get your address set up? Well, you can see as our client, we help you do that already right here. You work with our advisors, you work with our technology, and we set all this stuff up for you. If you want more training, tons of training in the back office on how to present and do a demo, I'm not going to do that now, but I will just show you that I bounce back now to step 1. And then I also show them step 2 and step 4 here. So fundability is all about getting your business credit reports set up, and that credibility step, which is step 1. Step 2, getting business credit reports and monitoring business credit, okay, as well. So now I show them step 1 and 4. I say, hey, remember when I showed you how to do all those things? We do all that stuff here, okay? Hey, remember when I, talked to you about how you need to get set up with Dun & Bradstreet? Well, right here in step 2, we're getting you set up with Dun & Bradstreet, et cetera, okay? So I'm walking through and explaining that to them in those sections. We're closing those loops. Now we're to that second point, which if you remember is building business credit. So now what we've done is we went through the first of those 3 things we told them we were going to show them. Fundability, business credit, and financing are next. So then we talk about business credit. Okay, look, you're getting credit in your business's name. We get into some examples here. Hey, you can be issued a failing business credit score even if you have no credit. We show experience snapshots of how somebody has a failing score, a very high risk score, and they have no accounts on their business credit report. Then we say with even one account, you could take a bad score to a good score. We show them that the score is good. We show them their low risk. We show them one account. We show them how they went from the last slide, the 28 score they had, all the way up into the 90s by adding one account. So now we're saying to them, hey, look, we're going to show you during this webinar how to get this one account. And when you add that one account, you could take a failing credit report to a good one. Now, the reason we're doing this is to create some fear, okay? We're basically coming in and saying, hey, look, you can be issued a failing score even if you have no credit, just so you know there's about an 80% probability that will happen, okay? I'm not trying to promote some, big, the world sky is falling theory that doesn't happen. Yes, once the bureaus get the stuff from the Secretary of State, Experian and Equifax will create a credit profile and score and will issue a failing score. So I talk about the reality that that's going to happen. Show them one account will change that. Then I go through a process of showing them a bunch of different profiles. And what this does is it basically shows them with one account, the amount of credit you're recommending gets higher. 2 accounts, it's higher, higher. So on this, let me see if I can do this from current slide. So on this slide, what I'm basically doing is saying, hey, look, as you continue to grow your credit, you're recommended for more amounts of money, higher amounts of money, okay, higher approvals. Remember this first one I showed you just a minute ago? Somebody had no credit and they were only recommended for $1,000, right? Then remember I showed you that person that had one account, and then look, they're recommended for $2,500. Now look, this person's being recommended for nearly $7,000 and they have 2 accounts. Now this person's being recommended for nearly $16,000 and they have 3 accounts reporting on their credit report. Here's somebody that's getting recommended for $66,000 of credit, 1, 2, 3, 4 accounts reporting. Here's somebody that's getting $725,000 recommendation of credit and they've got 15 accounts reporting. So what I'm doing in this slide is I'm showing them, look, the more you build your business credit, the higher the recommendation of credit from the reporting agencies, the higher the limits you get on credit cards and loans. That's what I'm ultimately showing them on this slide. Okay, then I move into building business credit. All the benefits. This is my benefits slide. All the benefits, the main benefits of building business credit that somebody's going to want to know. And then on this slide, what I'm doing is I'm then coming in and I'm actually showing one of our clients, showing Christine's results, showing some, and this is all the stuff she got without the personal guarantee and credit check. By the way, she got way more than this. Okay, she's over $1 million now, including 2, oh man, I forget the bank that she just got 2 credit lines with. But anyways, these are all no PG, no credit check. And then I show examples of her actual posts and stuff like that. That has my name, so you might want to remove that on your slide. I just noticed that one slipped through. Okay, and so then I come in and I then show a ton of results. And this is a results slide. So what this will do is this will come in and it will just show them a lot of actual approvals. Now you got to be careful if you're using these. You can see that our group, his name is here. So you're either going to want to remove these ones with our group name or have a graphics guy white those out. Okay. Again, there's a little bit of work when you're using our PowerPoint presentation, but this will give you mostly what you need. And there's plenty of these approvals that don't have our group name on them. Okay, and we do that for a reason, because we want them to join the group. That's the reason we keep them on there. So the next thing we do is we then start coming in and we teach them how to build business, or we teach them exactly that anybody could build business credit as well. Now I think on this one, let me look at this real quick. Slideshow from current slide. Okay, build business credit. Okay, so these are all examples of approvals. Okay, then we come in and we say, okay, any business can do it. Startups, nonprofits get approved even when you can't get any type of loan. So we're basically saying, hey, you might think this doesn't work for you, but it works for everybody. And then we get into the fact that you must build business credit to get the highest approvals. Now, notice something. I want you to notice something very important. This is the first PowerPoint sales pitch webinar you've ever seen from me where I did not map out the steps to build business credit. I did not show them here. I removed the how and I just showed them the what. So that's a big deal. We're teaching them less, and yet we're still providing value, and we're able to make the pitch easier because we're not giving them so much information. Now, at this point, I'm going to bounce right back into my finance suite and say, hey, everybody, you still cool? We have time. Are you cool if I show you how this works for our clients? The real process. Oh, yeah, I want to see it. I want to see it. Okay. Then remember, I already showed them step 1, 2, and 4 on the fundability slides. Now I'm jumping in and I'm showing them step 3, 5, 6, 7. So now I'm coming in and I'm saying, okay, well, you're going to start building business credit with vendors. And you can see we have the largest supply of vendor sources you're going to find anywhere, because we have a lot of unique sources that you're not going to find in any forums or anywhere else, because I tell people we created them, and we did. So what I do is I scroll past these pretty quick because I don't want them to see vendors like these. But I tell them, I say, you're not going to find a lot of these out in the public because we created them. So what happened is we came to a lot of different vendors that weren't reporting. We got them the ability to report, so they now have the ability to report when they once didn't have the ability to report. Then I typically come to one like Quill that's well known, that everybody knows, and then I show them how in our system we teach them we show them how they're pre-qualified. We color it, we make it orange. Correct me if I'm wrong, colorblind. I think it's orange. So we tell them that it lights up here in orange. When they can get approved. We tell them that we list the underwriting guidelines here to help them get approved. We give them the link to get approved, all the details they need, and the step-by-step instructions. And then we also tell them that we tier it down. So we break it down into tiers so they know what to apply for. And then we also tell them how many accounts they need in each step. So I say, look, there's 4 ways. And what I tell people is this. I say, look, we take years of business credit building and we condense it to months. And there's 4 ways we do that. The first way we do it is we tell you how many accounts you need on your business credit reports before you even apply. So you're not applying for accounts you can't get approved for. The second way we're doing it is we're telling you right here, if you can qualify, and we light it up, it's orange. If you can qualify, it's grayed out if you can't. The third thing we do is we teach you exact underwriting guide criteria here to qualify, and we even list the step-by-step process to come in and get approved. And the fourth thing that we do is we in order list the accounts that you should be applying for. So the whole point here is that you shouldn't be applying for accounts you're going to get turned down with. That's where everybody wastes time. We've created a system where you're only going to get approved because we've got these 4 safeguards to make sure you're only applying for credit you're going to get approved for. Then step 5, 6, and 7, I do the same thing. I come in and I tell them, I give them an example and show them how we list those underwriting guidelines. And then I also come in and just say, hey, look, you know, all these accounts you have access to, see how these are non-recommended. That means you don't have enough accounts reporting on your business credit report to qualify. This is one of these safeguards. It's crazy, man. I haven't been in here in a while. And like, there's so much of these that are new. Like, I haven't even seen this one before. I haven't seen this one before. I haven't seen this one. I haven't seen this one. I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen that one. So a lot of new ones, which is cool. They keep adding. I haven't seen that one either. I haven't seen that one. So then I show them what this looks like. So then after that, you come in and continue to get more and more credit. And I show them the same thing. We list the underwriting guidelines, the description of what they sell, the links and the information you need to get approved. So now after you built that initial credit, it's a matter of coming in and continuing to get more accounts. And the more accounts you have, the more of these credit tiers open up. And then I'll go all the way to step 7 and I'll show them step 7 and say, look, this is where you're able to get Visas and MasterCards and auto financing, and you're able to get all this other kind of credit as well. A lot of it without the personal guarantee, without the personal credit check. We list the underwriting guidelines, So now I'm coming back in, and again, I'm closing loops that I set up here in the presentation. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap up with a testimonial about somebody that got business credit. Then I'm going to move on to the final stage, which is financing, how to get money from your business. And again, we're addressing the problem. It's hard to get money. That's the problem. Okay, here's why it's hard. It's hard because there's so much financing, but most lenders only offer one type of funding. Let me explain why that's a problem here. Here's some kinds of funding that are available for you now. These are some. So imagine which one of these works for you. If you don't know, then what are you supposed to do? You're going to go to a lender, and a lender only offers this. But here's the thing. What if you qualified for all of these? What if you qualified for these 7, And yet you went to a lender that only offered this one. You get denied and think that you didn't qualify, but the reality is you went to the wrong lender. So let's say, for example, that you have really bad credit. Well, then if you have really bad credit, then you're able to get all this kind of financing. But if you went through one kind of financing, you wouldn't get it. So if you went to a lender that offers this and you applied and your credit's really bad, you wouldn't get approved. But if you would have went to a lender that offered this or this, you would have got approved, or this, you would have got approved. So how do you know? You don't know. That's the problem. That's why people struggle to get money. So what you've got to have is you got to have access to all legitimate funding options in one place. It fixes the problem. When you can get all this in one place, the problem is solved. Here's somebody that has had the problem solved. So again, this is how you do all of them. How do you improve fundability, build business credit, access loans all in one place? Well, that's when, again, you can either come in and do this two ways. You could do the way I've shown you, which is show it in sections as you present, or you could do the whole presentation right here. So now that I've wrapped up funding, now I'm going to come in and I'm going to come into the finance my business section, and I'm going to show them how all that financing is available in one place. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in for the close, and slides 32 to 43 are all about the close. So in slides 32, I'm going to come in and say how to get money for your business. Okay, so you got to know what the approval standards are. You got to be, okay, as an entrepreneur, you should be able to get the money you need. You need to know the approval standards. You need to be able to get all financing in one place. Well, we do all that for you, as you just saw. I just showed you. We do all three of those for you. And then we get into something that a lot of partners have asked for before, and I've never actually created, but now you have access to, which is the value map. This really talks about all the features and benefits that they're getting as part of the finance suite as signs of value of how much all of these features are worth. Hey, when you get access to this, you're getting 24/7 access. You're able to get it in English and Spanish. You're able to do da. You could show the finance suite and show them these things, but I'm just going through and talking about every one of these benefits that they're paying for. Then I list the bonuses and the bonus value. Then I come in and say, okay, you're getting all that value. You're getting the bonus value. That's a total of this much money. But you can get started today for only one payment of that, whatever you're going to charge, or however many payments of whatever you're going to charge. Okay, and so again, now I've shown it's really tremendous value, and then I've showed them a discount. This is called price anchoring. So price anchoring is when we show a really high number to anchor the value in their mind, and then what we do is then we come in and we then hit them with a much lower affordable price. Maybe this is too much for them to afford, then we walk them down one more time to payments they can afford. So we're taking something that freaks them out because they want what they see now, but they can't afford it. Now you know how it is when you want something and then you find out you can't afford it, you want it even more. So now they see that this price is high and they're like, man, I love this, but I can't afford that. Then they see something way lower that maybe they can't afford. Then they see even something lower that they can't afford. So we're walking them down price-wise. Now, this is what we're doing. And I always say this is the time and money. I always say in business that you have to usually decide between time and money. You're going to spend money for something and save yourself time, or you're going to do it yourself and spend the time and save yourself the money. But I say here, you get both. It's typically going to take you about 2 years to do this on your own. We can do it in 6 months. So we're saving you a ton of time. How much time is that? How much is that going to make? Like if you get money 18 months faster, what's that going to do for your business? Hey, by the way, you're also going to pay thousands more for credit monitoring, DUNS number, 411, valuations, all that's included. So you're saving money. So not only are we saving you nearly 1.5 to 2 years of time, but it's actually cheaper to work with us because credit monitoring alone is $2,200 more if you get it outside of us through the bureaus directly. So now I'm coming in and just establishing value. We save you time, we save you money. Okay, and then we come in and we say, look, we'll ensure the payments are affordable. We'll customize a payment plan for you. We'll help you get financing through another source. We'll help you get financing to finance your enrollment. We even have off-site programs. So we're giving them every incentive to want to talk to us and not tell them affordability should not be an issue. Then we come in with a guarantee. Okay, you get access with full access with the first payment. We offer a money back guarantee. You have to determine if you're going to do something like that or not. So there's no downside and massive upside. Then we just go through what's called a recap. Recap of all that they get, recap of bonuses, recap of pricing, recap of guarantee, and then we get to the final slide. Pretty cut and dry. So this is all about the what to do and not the how to do it in this presentation. Now the financing one is much shorter. Again, we come in with our who the hosts are, Again, we come in with what we'll cover today, the same what we believe slide. Webinar is for you. The webinar is not for you. The about us credibility slide, the bonuses if you hang to the end slide, then with the problem, same problem that we addressed in the other webinar. Okay, then we come back in and address more relating to the problem of getting money. Hey, what are you supposed to do? All this financing available, you don't know where to go. You're not going to get approved. You need to get approved in all sources in one place. Okay, and this is what you need to know. The 3 C's formula, you need to have one of the C's, cash flow, credit, or collateral. Cash flow, here's the questions to ask. If so, here's potential funding options. Okay, this is straight education. We're teaching them how to know what you can get. Do you have good credit? Well, here's potential funding options. Do you have a collateral? Well, here's potential funding options. So this is the education piece. We're teaching them with overwhelming details of what it takes to get approved for money. You got to have one of them, cash flow, credit, or collateral, get money. If you don't, well, then you need business credit. It's your best solution. You could also get grants, crowdfunding, angel investors, venture capital. So we're even saying, hey, look, everybody, and this helps because when you're promoting the webinar, you can even say, I don't care what your situation is. I'm going to show you ways in this webinar to get approved. And that's what we've done here. We said, if you don't have any of these fundable things, well, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different ways you can get money that aren't even based on any of these. So that's our straight education piece. Now we're going to come in and we're going to talk a little bit more about where people mess up. Look, the problem is most people try to come in and get a $50,000 line of credit when they don't need it. Here's what happens. They come in and they say, I need a $62,000 loan. What do you need it for? Well, I need $2,000 for computers and $5,000 for office supplies and $6,000 for furniture, $22,000 for vehicles and marketing expense and equipment, etc. This is where so many people mess up, but you don't really need that. Here's what you need. Think about getting money from multiple sources. For computers, you can get your $2,000 from Dell, Apple, HP using a business credit card. You can get your office supplies from Staples or Office Depot using a business credit card. You can get furniture from here, vehicles from here. So now all you really couldn't cover with this other kind of financing and credit is payroll. So you don't need a loan for $60,000. You really only need a loan for $6,000. That's all you need. Because now using the business finance suite, or again, this one, you don't even have to sell the finance suite, you're just selling financing. Through these other ways I can help you get money, now all you need is $6,000 because we got you corporate credit cards and specialized financing like equipment financing to get you the rest of the money that you needed. And then we talk about the importance of improving fundability to qualify as well. Even the slightest change in fundability standards can get you approved. We're back to that slide again about, hey, lenders want to know about what's on your business credit reports. And then we say you've got to know what's being reported. Okay, and then again, you can come in and reference the finance suite here or just talk about how that's one of the things we do. Our finance team helps them meet the criteria that lenders are going to have before they even apply. And then again, we talk about how we offer all these funding options in one place. We talk about how the finance officers help them do all these different things. We give them a testimonial. And then we talk about how we can help them with all these things, right? You never need to look for funding again. We are improving your fundability. We can get you money in less than 72 hours. We work with high risk industries, okay, getting started. And then we come in, we don't charge you any fees. Okay, we don't charge you any fees. The lenders charge you. When I explain financing to people, I say, look, we never charge you a dime of money. The lenders are going to charge you. You're going to pay rates and fees. That's how lenders get paid. We'll negotiate that for you, but you're going to pay LIM fees, but we don't charge you a dime. It's actually free to work with us. And then we wrap up. So what's interesting about this funding presentation is you're not pitching anything. You're not selling anything. For the first time ever, I've given you a presentation that you can get people to get in for loans and credit lines without them buying anything first. So you don't need to do a demo here because all you're doing is convincing them why they should work with you to help them get a loan or a credit line. So you have access to both of these presentations now. You have access to the one that helps you here, helps somebody actually get financing for their business. And then you have access to the second PowerPoint where you're then able to come in and do a demo and also teach them about fundability, getting business credit financing all in one place. And then this is all about doing a demo of the finance suite. Two, very well tested. These are tested, proven. We're having great results. We're beating all of the other webinars that we've done using these new presentations. And you have access to them now. You're going to need to make some changes. I removed all this on the ones I gave you. And then I just put something here in yellow highlight stating, hey, you need to add your own contact information here. But remember, there are some places here in these, one where Christine mentioned my name, which was right here. And then in this results slide, our Facebook group is in some of these. So, but that's the only two changes you really need to make. My information and Credit Suisse information has been removed from the rest. So I'm going to open this up to answer any questions you have. Today we talked about why you should do joint venture webinars, what joint venture webinars are. We talked about where to go to get joint venture webinar partners. By the way, as I wrap up, if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in now as I kind of do a summary of what we went over so I can make sure that I get to your questions. So we talked about what joint ventures webinars are, how joint venture webinars work. We talked about multiple, I think 4 or 5 different places you could go to get joint venture webinars. We talked about the type of joint venture partners that you want. We talked about the importance of you doing your own webinars like this, as well as also working with joint venture partners to do the same thing. We talked about how our business development was set up to go in and get these joint venture partners. We talked about and showed you, and you got access now if you're here, to the emails that you can actually send. Remember, based on which of these 2 presentations you're using, you're going to need to modify the name of the webinar, et cetera, to fit these, because we change those emails based on the type of webinar we're doing. But you have the actual emails. You know how to work with a JV partner. You know how to weed out the JV partners to only find the ones that are successful. Okay, we've talked about the kind of the numbers you can actually make and the kind of revenue and profit you can make from these. We talked about the importance of following up after the webinar by phone and email, 5 emails, 5 phone calls to be able to get the attendees actually signed up. We talked about running some emails after the webinar to remind them about all the bonuses and things they get when they buy. You should also set an expiration time. Hey, these bonuses, this price, all this expires the end of the day tomorrow, whatever it may be. And you're going to want to say that in the emails that you send as well. And we talked about sending reminder webinars and text if they've text opted in leading up to the event to get your attendance high. Then we spent a large part of today going through these 2 webinars as well. So we talked about, and I gave you access to a brand new one that we've tested but never released before to partners, one of which has to do with financing, and it gives you the ability to just sell the financing that you offer, and another one that's a full-blown pitch where you come in, you teach about fundability, you teach about business credit, you teach about financing, you teach about how it's all in one place, you intertwine a demo. And I also showed you how this new format we have removes the how we do things and talks a lot more about the what we do instead. Okay, so that being said, that pretty much wraps it up. You now have all the insight you need on joint venture webinars, all the resources you need, and have access to our most recent proven presentations as well. So let me answer any questions you have. I only have 1 so far. So if you have any others, get them in here before I wrap up. Luis says, any clients we sign up have access to the Credit Suisse counselors for 1 year and for 5 years to the funding counselors. Yeah, I mean, that is right. The reality is we really don't stop access to the finance officers. At one point, I used to say 5 years. Now I say, look, you have access indefinitely to our finance team. And the 1 year for business credit advising, yes. Now, just so you guys know, we do offer a guarantee. And our guarantee is that they will get $50,000 in money with business credit and financing sources, or we'll work with them until they do. So for example, if somebody stays with us a year and then they forgot about this, they walked away, they come back at a year and they say, man, I bought this a year ago, I never did anything, now I'm trying to get my business going, we would restart that year for them. I mean, we are really not fickle about this. The reason we have a 12-month that they work with the advisors in place is because they don't need the advisors after 12 months. Like after 12 months, they're good. They've already built their business credit. They don't need the advisors. The only people that need the advisors after 12 months is somebody that abandoned the process. Then they decide many months or a year later that they want to now restart. And those people will still restart them because, again, the goal here is that we want them to succeed. And a lot of them, they ghost us. They disappear and then they come back. But yeah, it is 12 months with the advisors, and it is 5 years for the finance officers, but I now tell them indefinitely because we don't limit that to 5 years. The emails are in the chat. If you look at the downloads in the chat section, there's 3 downloads, and those emails are one of those downloads there, Brian. And no problem, Luis. They always have access to the software, correct? Regina, yes, unless you shut them off. You know, as partners, you have the ability to change the password that they have in the back office. You could change their password and cut off their access, but we don't cut off their access. They have access indefinitely when they buy. Okay, never mind. I found it. Thanks. Okay, Brian, good. All right, so I'm going to wrap this up. I don't have any other questions, but we talked through everything to do with joint venture webinars. We've talked through how to do our webinar, every step of the process. You have access to the emails. If you were here, there may be some access emails in the back office for the joint venture. I'm not sure, but the webinars for the back office are definitely there in the presentation section and in the PowerPoint section. If you're live here, you get the benefit of getting those emails right in the download section and both webinars now. PowerPoints. The PowerPoint should be available to everybody else as soon as tomorrow, which is Wednesday or later. Okay. And can you touch on the Genesis program? Sure. Genesis is something that we offer, which is actually, you guys know it as do it yourself. Do it yourself has been tested for about 2 years in the back office. And if you don't have do it yourself, then let me explain what it is. Do it yourself is where we remove the advisors from the actual the equation. The highest cost of servicing for us is the advisors, because they're the ones that make all the calls and spend all the time on the phone. That's our cost. So our partners asked us for a cheaper alternative. Hey, can we offer something that's cheaper? So we created a product 2 years ago called the Do It Yourself program. We've now renamed it in Credit Suite the Genesis program. And this is basically just a cheaper option where you can come in and you can offer a finance suite for less than half the investment. I think it's $350 per suite instead of $700 per suite, or you can even get it as low as like $200 per suite if you're buying them in volume. And then what you're able to do is you're able to sell the business credit builder without the access to business credit advisors. And so if you've got somebody that's on a budget and doesn't have a lot of money to spend, then they can come in and instead get the do-it-yourself program. Now, if you don't have this in your back office under Add Clients, you don't have this option, that means you were not included in the beta to test this. That's cool, no worries. All you have to do is just contact us, contact partner support. Go to contact us, go to partner support, tell them that you are interested in offering the do-it-yourself program and that you want that access turned on in your back office. Okay, and then what happens from there is they will get you access. Even the sales team member that you spoke with that originally onboarded you and helped you come in, they can talk to you about bulk pricing. They can talk to you about individual pricing, partner success, or the rep that you spoke with when you came in can get you access. We turn on this tab. You can set up clients just like you normally would. You could buy credits for prepaid enrollments or single enrollments for Genesis, and you have a much cheaper alternative to help somebody come in instead of maybe spending thousands of dollars. Maybe they only want to spend hundreds of dollars a month, per example. Okay, so that's how it works. Now, disclaimer, I will tell you two things. On average, we're keeping people in the program for about 4 months before they drop out. We're working on extending that retention and getting them to stick longer, but that's about what we run right now, is about 4 months with this program. And the second thing is that people will not nearly be as successful with the system doing it themselves as they will be working with advisors. We really see the value of advisors because advisors don't just help them through the process, they motivate them to move through the process. So you need to expect that your customers that are doing this without the advisors will not have nearly the success, and they're going to stick for maybe a few months, maybe 4 months, and we'll continue to work on getting them to stick longer. We're working on those things right now, but hopefully, Regina, that gives you a lot of information. Do you have any promotions for that? You mean for Genesis to be so we don't have any promotions right now with Genesis, nor have we ever, but I will do something like that. Yeah, I will run a promotion for partners to get discounts on Genesis. I will do that, Regina. Let me think through when to do that, but maybe for our September or October promotions, we'll run a promotions to get you guys set up for Genesis if you want to offer it, and then get you guys some discounts on prepaid enrollments. So I don't know if I have September's promo calendar done yet, but I have to look and see if I do. If not, it'll be October. But yeah, let's say in the next 45 days, sometime September, October, we'll run a promotion for Genesis. We will. I think that's a great idea I've never thought of, so I appreciate you suggesting that. Yes, flyers in the back office. Okay. Yes. Do their payment for apply for the full package if they upgrade? It will. Yeah, we do. That's what we do. Whatever they paid gives a credit for whatever. So if you came in and you paid and they upgrade, yeah, what they paid will be an upgrade, will be applied to upgrade. The whole purpose for us is to upgrade them to coaching. It's what we want them to do. It's just an easier, cheaper way to get them in the door if you do it that way. Okay, and Janelle says that sounds great. Okay, so any other questions? Let me know, guys. I don't want to leave you hanging on Genesis. If you're like, whoa, I don't even know about that. I don't even know. Tell me more. Don't freak out. Just come right here to Partner Success and get in touch with our Partner Success team. Tell them, say, hey, there's this Genesis or do-it-yourself program that Ty talked about in the webinar. I'll go ahead and message Partner Success right now and let them know. So within minutes, they're going to know that they can expect to get phone calls and emails from you guys about that, and just let them know. They can set up that do-it-yourself business credit builder in the back office, so you have that option. And then they'll also talk to you about where to go to get prepaid enrollments, where to go to get single enrollments. And then, as Regina suggested, I'll do a promotion September, maybe October, for you guys to get in on Genesis. It doesn't cost anything, by the way. You don't have to pay anything to offer Genesis. It's part of you being a partner, just like Premier Partner. If you want us to do the selling for you, we'll do that, and there's no cost for you to get in on that program. Same here, and you just pay for the enrollments. And then again, Partner Success can help you get access to all those enrollments and stuff as well. So I'm going to wrap up. If you have any other questions, get in touch with us on our Partner Success team, and I will message Partner Success and let them know right now that we talked about do-it-yourself in Genesis. And I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you next Tuesday here at 3 o'clock Eastern. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.